In this clip we'll show you how to upload and edit timetables. So if we go into the Setup Options window here, we can access these functions either through the Timetable button here or through the checklist. The checklist page will give us an indication of what's already been uploaded. So here we can see the various stages that are required for this process, and the first one of which is to input the sessions of the day. Here we start by listing the period names in this column. Here we are going to have to bear in mind that our next stage is to import our timetable data using a spreadsheet. And so we must make sure that the period names here match up with the data on that spreadsheet. In this case it's just the numbers 1 to 5. We can then enter the start times for each of the sessions, and we can see that the finishing times are automatically entered based on this time that's shown at the top here. In this case we have a 2-week timetable, and the timings that are shown here will be applied to each of the days that are shown in the tick boxes here. We can also apply more than one timetable if we illustrate which groups that this particular one applies to, but in this case we're going to stick with all. Clicking the Save button here will then save all of those periods, and we are now ready to enter our timetable. So when we click on the next button it takes us back to the checklist, and we can start the next part of this operation, which is to upload our timetable file. To do this we're first going to need to download our file from our OneDrive account. In this case it's going to be our personal account, and we select the CSV file that contains our timetable information. So this follows the same format as most of the ESP uploads, where these letters here indicate which column in the CSV file contains the relevant piece of information. So in this case column A contains our day, B the period name, and so on. So if we take a look at our sample file here, we can see how the data is laid out. So we have the day, the period name, the group name, the subject name, and then the room where the session takes place. You may have noticed that there's no teacher information on here, but this is essentially my timetable, so the system will assume that when I transfer it to the database. Clicking the upload button will then process the file, giving us this series of errors. So here we can see that the system was unable to upload the registration, and that's because we didn't create a session for it on our day timings. And it also describes the fact that it was unable to create any sessions on day 2, but that's because all of the group information was actually empty. This is a part-time timetable. Once we moved on from this screen and back to the home page, you can see that our timetable button is now available to press. And here we can see our newly installed timetable. Because of the screen size on the phone, it allows you to toggle around seeing the groups, rooms, or subjects. If you've imported lots of timetables though, it also allows you to search, seeing either other teachers, other rooms, or groups. We will now illustrate how to input timetable sessions manually. So if we return to the checklist page and click on timetables, which we can see now has a tick as we have timetable information, we can see the option here to manually input timetable sessions. In this window we can select a group, room, and period name and day from the drop down boxes, selecting a subject and then teacher. Clicking on Save Session then checks the existing sessions to make sure there are no clashes. In this case there is. Clicking on the View All button will automatically take us through to the clash section first, where we can see the 2 offending sessions. We can then select which one we want to keep and delete the other one. And here we can see all of the sessions clear of clashes. Thanks for listening.